What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. I'm Ace. I'm going to tell you guys, they are not ready for what's coming. My God, some stuff's coming out today that's kind of mind-blowing, and I am here for it. I'm excited to go through it. Tonight, the left is going to be freaking out as this comes out, man. They thought they were winning. They thought they had the narrative going on their side. They were like, oh, man, we got Trump's numbers down, and then boom. Just getting hit from all sides. I'm going to go through it tonight. Alex Pretti, domestic terrorist. My God, this guy's all over the place. I'm going to show you that first. We're getting the election stuff out of Georgia, and there's more and more and more. So we're going to cover it tonight. Hope you guys are ready for the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hit that like, hit that subscribe before we get started. We are getting into it tonight. There's nothing like, for me, liberal tears, man. I love them. I drink them, and no, I don't really, but I fantasize about it. Okay, it's already off the rails tonight. What is happening? But no, for real, it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy when Trump and all this operation, this administration just undercuts them, surprises them, and always starts taking it away from them. Like they thought Minnesota was their rally cry. This is it. We're sealing up. But then they got stuff coming out. It's just not looking good. So stay tuned. Watch this. Let's get it out there, because the further it spreads, the more freakouts we get. And everybody loves a good liberal freakout, right? I thought so. All right, let's say hey to the chat, and then we'll get going here. Nick Majors, numero uno tonight. What's up, brother? Cass Sink, what's up? Mike Burkett, Just Mike, the one, what to do? AJ Traders here. Alice Fordham, Frank Anastasio, Shogun, Foundation Preacher, what's up? Or Ever Trumper. I hate that they changed the names on YouTube. I really do. I cannot see your names. I only see your tags, and it's lame. Pat M, what's up? Marco Sanchez, CJ Yukon, Mike Mishler, Nels over on Rumble. What's going on, brother? Moody's here, CA Human, Lock Up in the house, Candace Morrison, R. Will, and US1 Tahoe. Good to see ya, brothers and sisters. It's a good day. It's a good day. Thank you, Jesus, for good days. We love it. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you're on X, hit that repost. And guys, if you want more, if you love what you see, support the channel. Just think of that. Give it a thought. Join the Patreon, get in the Discord. All right, let's get moving. By the way, tonight I'm doing something a little different. All right, just a heads up. Victor Yara, what's up, brother? Tonight, we're starting with a regular live. I got a couple things I just wanted to get out to everybody. And then I'm going to end with a members live. So a little shorter live tonight. And then we're going to go right into the members live at the end and talk specifically economics, because there's some really interesting stuff coming out. So if that's for you, if you don't want to miss it, you got a chance to join. Get in the Patreon now. Click in the link in the description or on the pin post on X, and get your free month, and then you can see if it's worth your time to keep going. All right, this is one of the big stories going around today that's just shocking, honestly, the entire media, the entire left, because they had their little beautiful narrative. Alex Pretti, he was just a guy who's just a protester, and ICE is evil and shot him. Oh, yeah? Really? Well, it turns out Mr. Pretti, which we already knew because we're not dummies. We don't fall for their crap anymore, but a lot of people were. Unfortunately for them, this is pretty damning evidence that the guy is a lot worse than they were pushing out there. So watch this video. It's going to shock some people and surprise almost no one watching here.
This is a moment the news movement filmed on January 13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Pretti interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him. Our footage was analyzed by the BBC,
Seems like a nice
whose
guy.
facial recognition technology confirmed his identity to a 97% degree of accuracy. On the morning of January 13th, our team received a tip that federal agents were blocking a street at the corner of East 36 and Park Avenue in Minneapolis. We arrived around 10:15 a.m. We saw observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight. An agent then got out of the vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed him to the ground. During the altercation, agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. They continued to hold the man down before they retreat and he walks away. The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Pretti was wearing on the day he was killed. What appears to be a gun is also visible above his waistband. Here, he continues to stand at the scene.
What a terrible person.
On the day he was killed, the Department of Homeland Security claims Pretti, a 37-year-old ICU nurse, approached officers holding a handgun. That claim has been contradicted by analysis of bystander videos from multiple news investigations, which concluded that Pretti was holding a phone, not a gun, when he was pinned to the street.
How crazy these people are. So, there you go, guys. I mean, that's the footage. They got him. They got him 11 days ago, messing with ice, breaking property, cracking the back of their car. You know, this guy there's a lot of strange stuff about him. Divorced a couple years ago. His wife said he was super woke, super involved in all this stuff. Basically a radical. Left his job. Social media gone. You know, I'm just going to say, like, this guy, to me, is like, I think he went there with the intent of dying. I do. I mean, carrying all those rounds and with that gun, it's like 60 rounds. Seriously? It's a lot. It's a lot to just carry around at a protest. Scuffling it up with ice, 11 days. Apparently in that scuffle, he broke his rib. I mean, and then to come back, erase his past. Yeah, I think, guys, this guy had suicide on the brain. He was going to risk his life. He was going to scuffle it up. He was going to give it all to the cause, to whatever this protest is. It's sick. This is incredible footage. I cannot believe we got this. In the era of phones and social media, especially media that's freed up now that X is owned by Elon and Trump is president. How stupid do you have to be? You can't get away with anything anymore. It's like this nurse that just talked about poisoning ICE agents. She's fired. The guy, I played last night, wanted to kill Trump. He's run for attorney general in Ohio. I mean, you can't get away with anything anymore. Are you kidding me? These people used to get away with all this. Think of how much over the past 20 years, maybe beyond, people have gotten away with. That's now just exposed within a couple of days. It's wild times we live in, folks. And this is the kind of stuff they just never see coming. They can't see it coming because it's totally against their original operating procedures. They can't hide anymore, and it freaks them out. They hate it. Eventually, the truth always rises, and that is why, it's just one of the many reasons why, I'm so optimistic about the future. Because when you can't hide, when you can't commit evil in secret, when you're always going to eventually get busted, when the people are eventually always going to see what you're doing, I mean, how can that not lead to good things? I don't know about you guys, but it makes me feel really good about where we're headed. Yeah, there's going to be bumps. There's going to be bruises. It's hard. There's lots of fights we got to go through. We're in a war, actually, but man, heading in the right direction. Moody asked, why'd they let him go? You know, I think because they probably have orders not to detain Americans unless it really ramps up. So that would be my guess. And we got, I mean, there's so much more going on with all this. The Minnesota stuff's crazy right now. It is where all the attention is and the news is. I mean, look at this. So Ilhan Omar attacked last night with this unknown substance. You know what it came out to be? I believe it came out to be apple cider vinegar. I'm not even joking. That's who attacks with apple cider vinegar? I mean, unless you're like, ferment something. It's like clean some dirt off the counter. Come on, seriously, apple cider vinegar. It's not dangerous. So obviously this, dare I say, was probably a setup. I mean, as the quartering writes here, a more cynical person would think the timing of this attack is curiously the very same day her winery was exposed as a multi-million-dollar fraud factory. Yeah, Ilhan Omar, who was worth like $40,000 7 years ago, now worth $44 million. It's kind of weird, kind of strange stuff, right? Yeah, you'd think that would perk some ears up, but not on the left. No, they celebrate that. They're like, oh yeah, got rich fighting the system. They love the fraud. They think that's how you do it. I mean, look at all the fraud that's going on. I mean, we got the Somalians, we got the daycares, we got the travel companies. It's just ramping up, and they love it. It's like, oh yeah, we'll steal, because they don't believe in earning anything. They believe you just give it to them, and you put the slaves to work. Whether it's Whitey, and once Whitey is under your thumb, then you got to put the other slaves to work, which they don't want to talk about that, where it goes eventually. But we'll get there. But this is just crazy. I mean, the Ilhan Omar stuff, the Alex Pretti stuff. I mean, you know what's insane? Go on another social channel. Go to Facebook, go to Instagram, and just watch what people are saying. It blows your mind how stupid people are, how indoctrinated they are, how little they do research. They'll just accept whatever's fed to them. Thank God we have people who watch shows like this who will actually pay attention. Will go deeper. You guys, you realize that? Like, you are the 5%, the 1 to 5%, somewhere in that range, who actually care to learn. Isn't that crazy? It doesn't it kind of blow your mind how few people actually want to know the truth? I mean, it's not that people don't want to know the truth, but actually are willing to do the work to get it. Most people don't realize they have to work for it, but what we do. And thank God it's easier than ever, but you still got to do a little work. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Ilhan Omar going under the gun, Trump calling her out, getting Minnesota on blast for fraud, her entire Somalian community in big trouble, her like getting called out by Trump as a fake congresswoman, and then that day the winery story exposed. Oh yeah, I'm gonna shoot some apple cider vinegar on you. And guess what? That part of the story is not going to get out to most people. Nope. Most people are just going to see that video and believe that she was attacked. Selective editing, friends. It does a wonder for you. It's what we all used to experience before the internet. It's what we all used to know. That's it. We went from full on propagandized by a few networks, then getting a little bit of breath of fresh air with Fox News, which was correct about 70% of the time, maybe 60% of the time, but still had its own agenda. And then the internet came, but it wasn't ready. It took years for the internet to start. Then people start learning stuff. Well, then they took over the internet. They started creating little mills for the people called social media, where they could feed you what they wanted you to learn. And then Elon broke that all up. But it's taken a while. The promise of the internet took a long time to reach this point. But now we're here. And now we get information, and now we can find it without having to go on the dark web. It's pretty amazing stuff. But that comes with the responsibility to get it out there. Because most people are still trapped in the vortex. They're still trapped in the bubbles. And it's a dangerous place to be because there's a lot of information out there. Moody, did I see that Tyler Robinson didn't want a video of Charlie being assassinated because it renders the trial unfair? Oh, yeah, his crime would render it unfair? Yeah, that's where we're at. This is how these people are. And guess what? Most courts will allow that. You know, for a while, we were all taught to believe that that's fairness. That's growing injustice. Like, think of how much we've been lied to over the years. It just boggles the mind. And if y'all think it's stopped, it hasn't. So many, and listen, I get caught up every once in a while in a story that's fake, because it might come from somebody I kind of trusted or trusted adjacent. And, you know, I mean, I'm really good at breaking this stuff down, seeing through it, but even I get caught sometimes. We all do, because it's everywhere. They've built long-standing, they have a great deep foundation, and they love to use it. They get out that information. It permeates from all sides. And sometimes the only light is a little bit of light coming through, and you got to chase that. And sometimes it can be easy to miss. But thank God for X, makes it easier than ever to see through it. And, you know, so all this is going on. We're starting to get exposure. We're starting to really see what's happening. And guess who's weighing in? Oh, Barry. Oh, Barry. He's ginning up the resistance, man. In Minneapolis, this is from Barack Obama himself. In Minneapolis, many other communities across the country, we're seeing people come together, peacefully protest and support their neighbors. If you're looking to get involved, here are ways to help. You know what he shares? Vox.com. How to help the resistance. That's not a protest. That's not a cause. A resistance is not a cause. That is just anti-something. Anti the Trump administration. You know what this funds? This funds the chaos. This funds the crazy people. Yeah, this is a former president doing this. The man, he's, you know, when people show you who they are, believe them. Barack Obama is an evil man. Evil man. Completely all in. He was their Manchurian candidate, and he failed. He's one of the greatest failures in history. They groomed him. They gave him everything. They put him on the biggest stage in the world, and he couldn't accomplish his goal. He couldn't end America because he was weak and pathetic, and because Americans were much tougher than he reckoned. They mistimed it. It wasn't time yet, and that's okay. You know, in Psalms 2, it says God laughs. It says the leaders of the world plot their schemes, and the Lord laughs at them. Well, that's exactly what happened here. Barack Obama was one of their greatest schemes, and God laughed at him and foiled all his plans. And the dude's still trying to be relevant. He no longer is, but he can still cause a little bit of damage. And that's what he's trying to do here. Get more people out there. This is the kind of thing. Remember, yesterday, the panic on the right, the MAGA panic. Oh, Trump has given in. Trump has capitulated. He's pulled out. Weak. We can't be weak like this, President Trump. Steve Bannon calling him out for sucking up to Tim Walz. Does this look like the left thinks he's sucked up? Does this look like the left think he gave up? Why has Barack Obama got to call in the troops? Yeah, they're losing. But the narrative, that goes against the narrative. That doesn't fit the uniparty narrative. You can't believe that. Listen to this. Tucker Carlson, this is a longer clip. I usually don't play longer clips, but I'm going to play this one because Tucker Carlson gives some insight into what the administration laid down for Minnesota and how that played out. Tucker's the first to report it. And because Tucker still has the faith of the president and the trust of the president, I'm going to have to let him have a little bit of my faith still too.
What could possibly be the answer?
Happening here? I know immediately what some are thinking. Why would Trump offer to pull out the troops? You know, that's what some people are seeing when they see this. They're missing the point. The Trump administration gave them the perfect deal. Hey, you just follow the law. You just protect American citizens. Turn over the worst. Hey, we'll be cool. We'll be cool. The Trump administration knew they would never accept. That's what people are missing when they freak out about the Trump administration offering to pull ICE out. They knew it. This is a setup. And to deny such a basic deal, they weren't asking for much. Turn over the criminals, help with 911 calls, easy stuff. Easy stuff. Police your own. And they say no. I mean, it's crazy, guys. It's crazy, the stuff. And I guarantee you this was leaked to Tucker on purpose to get out there. Because this starts telling everybody the Democrats are crazy. Tim Walz is crazy. Mayor Frey is crazy. So this is the kind of stuff you got to know. That's not a crazy agreement, right? Anybody in their right mind, if you actually wanted ICE out and you actually were serving American citizens, you would say yes to that little deal on a heartbeat. It's not asking for much. But the Trump administration, their whole reason I believe they offered in the first place is just to catch them. And now Tucker, who's got millions and millions of people watching him, one of the still most influential people in all of MAGA land, is getting that story out there. And why do they not want to enforce it at all? Well, because of this. This tells you all of it. You know, sometimes the illegals vote. It's true. It's not as much as you think, but it does happen. They mess up the elections in other ways, printing ballots, stuff like that. They don't need the illegals to vote that much, but what they do need, and this is much easier to pull off, they do need those bodies in the states because they get counted in the census, and then it makes the votes, the fake votes, look more possible. See, an illegal immigrant, the vast majority of them, they don't want to show up in a polling booth illegal. They don't. They want to stay hidden as much as possible. They want to work. They feel safer in sanctuary cities, of course, but they don't want to just dip into areas that are iffy because they're trying not to get sent out. Now you have some like the Somalians who are like their whole life is fraud because that's what they learned in their country. Yeah, I get that. But most illegal immigrants, they want to lay low. So a lot of them, they're not rushing to the polls to vote. Some do. They get convinced by the Democrats to go in the areas that don't count. Yeah, absolutely. But the main thing, the most important thing about the illegals for the Democrats, because the Democrats will produce the ballots no matter what, the most important thing is they get those bodies counted because that gives them the electoral votes. That makes it look like there's more people in those states than actually are. And then when they cheat in the elections, it looks more likely to be true. And now the census is already turning against them, and they cannot afford for this to happen. It's going to, listen, it's putting something that's already extremely difficult, winning an election. The Democrats, every single election, go in with about a 52% chance of winning. That's how the deck is stacked against the Republicans. That's why Trump is such an anomaly. Remember, even George Bush, who, unipartyist for sure, but even George Bush barely won. His first election, he lost the popular vote, won because of the Supreme Court stopping the vote counting in Florida, which was going to be rigged anyways. I mean, he probably would have won outright, but not the popular vote. And then Obama won the next two. But it went from 1992 all the way to 2024. 32 years. There was only one election where a Republican won the popular vote, and that was George Bush in 2004, when we were in the height of the war on terror, and people still thought he was doing a good job. And he won with 51%. That's how hard it was for a Republican to win with everything the Democrats have put in place. Trump was never supposed to win. It was a miracle. Even the second time. They had everything built in, and he won so overwhelmingly. Now we're finally at the point where it's getting exposed, and we're moving people out. We might get the SAVE Act. I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. But all that, my friends, is what they're freaking out about, because they spent decades building this up. You know, George Soros funded almost every Secretary of State who runs the elections in each state. He funded almost every Secretary of State in every blue state. Look it up. You can see it. That started under Obama. Get the Secretaries of State in. George Soros. Boom. Done. Funded them. Won their elections. Because if you control the elections, eventually you can destroy America. That's what they were putting in place. Trump is doing everything he can to fix these elections, even if Congress doesn't vote and pass the SAVE Act, which they might do. But with Trump removing the illegals and with people moving to red states, it might fix the elections for at least a couple more decades, even if they don't have the courage to pass the SAVE Act. And that's what they know this, and that's why they're freaking out so bad. And Trump is doubling down. Today, he announced Colin McDonald. Nobody knows who this is, including me. But this is what's interesting. Assistant Attorney General for National Fraud. This guy's entire job is to weed it out. Money, of course, but also this is going to paint the narrative, create the narrative. They're going to release the stories more and more to get the people on the side of deportations and fixing the system, the welfare system, the gimme system that has been so taken advantage of. With Senate approval, will grant him a broad license to find and prosecute misappropriation of federal resources. Not a well-known figure, but he has a reputation as a fearless prosecutor. His anti-fraud resume includes winning convictions in Hawaii law. Listen, if you can win in Hawaii, you're a stud, because Hawaii is one of the bluest states out there. On top of this is blowing up the world right now, all over the place. FBI raiding Fulton County Election Hub and Operations Center in Georgia. It's likely the FBI and DOJ presented credible evidence of fraud to the judge. They are doing this with a criminal warrant. Let's look at this story. Whoops. Let's look at this story real quick.
FBI agents are on site at a Fulton County election office in Georgia, where they are conducting a search. David Spunt's got more details for us on this developing story. David?
Hi, Sandra. This is a satellite office for the Fulton County Elections Office. The FBI Atlanta press office confirming this, not giving many details, saying that the FBI is executing a court-authorized law enforcement action. No other details at this time, but we do know via sources a judge signed off on this warrant, allowing these agents, as you see them, enter this building to take items from the inside. Now, we're told that this is a sealed matter before the court, meaning details are now limited. Now, agents are looking at documents, phones, computers. We are told via multiple sources this is related to the 2020 presidential election. Now, we don't know specifically what agents are taking to the FBI lab, items that may eventually become part of a federal case. You may remember President Trump was charged in Fulton County with trying to overturn the 2020 election results. That's Brad Raffensperger right there. He is the Secretary of State of Georgia. That is the Fulton County District Attorney, Fonnie Willis.
While everybody's focused on Minnesota, Trump's getting the records from Georgia. Why is Trump getting the records from Georgia? Well, 2.5 weeks ago, he got the records from Venezuela. Oh, yeah. The hub of election machine fraud. Oh, yeah. What did Trump say last week? Oh, yeah. Maduro had told him about stolen elections. Oh, do you see how it's all building up, friends? Everybody's out there freaking blackpilling. Yesterday, Trump calls Minnesota a distraction. Today, we have the FBI raiding Georgia. You see how it's all working out, friends? Come on. One after another. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the breadcrumbs, guys. Venezuela, Maduro, Georgia. Boom, boom, boom. Elections. Democrats freaking out in Minnesota as Minnesota's already projected to lose an electoral vote. Whoa. Man. Trump is outplaying them at every turn. They never saw it coming. One after the other. They're all focused on the deportations. Trump is focused on fixing the elections. The deportations are just a part of it. And look who's showing her face. Tulsi Gabbard is back out in public, friends. She's been quiet for about 8 months now. And now she shows up for this Georgia raid. Oh, man. Listen, I hope you're getting excited because a lot of people have been freaking out the last few days. I don't get it. We've had such an amazing start to the year. Everybody, come on, guys. You're better than this. Don't let your emotions take over. Don't let your emotions get pushed and swayed by every little story that comes out. We are winning. Trump is the master of deflection. Hey, look over there. Boom, I'm going to do this. Do you see what I did right there? Everybody looks. The left goes, oh! And meanwhile, he's like, I'm getting it all. Guys, something's happening this year. Something's going down with the elections this year. I'm telling you right now, Trump wants it cleaned up before the midterms. He does. He's going all out on those elections before the midterms. What did Trump say yesterday? In 50 years, only one person has won the midterms after a president. It makes no sense. And so what I'm going to do, I'm terrible Trump impersonation, but bear with me. But I feel good about it. I feel good. I think we can buck the trend. The only other time it was extraneous circumstances. He meant the war on terror 2002. Yeah, 9/11. This time, and what are we getting? Non-stop panic about the midterms. Non-stop stories about how Trump is failing, how the Republicans are failing. It's all falling apart. It's non-stop. Deportations falling apart. Trump's caving in. Trump's sucking up to Tim Walz. Meanwhile, now there's a lot of people playing games right now. It's really, really difficult to know who's on the up and up. We either have people like Bannon who might be a bad actor or might be playing a role. We have plenty of other people being exposed. Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes. The psyops are everywhere. But meanwhile, this is what's going on. Raiding Georgia. Why waste your time unless it's there? I'm telling you guys, we're going to get revelations here that are going to shock the world in the next few months. everything the Dems said wasn't true. A lot of it's going to happen. Today, on top of all this, we have Senator Tommy Tuberville. Listen to what he had to say.
It'd be nice to see point. Where do you stand on that, Senator? Do we have any hope of getting that passed?
No, we can't get that passed because you even have some Republicans that won't vote for it because they bring in all these illegals and they're going to try to get as many of them to vote as they can. Then they have all these voting machines that are all crooked, out of Venezuela, by the way. They have a system that they can win elections. We probably have a dozen or so people up here in the House and the Senate that were elected illegally. They shouldn't be here because it's been proven, but nobody does anything about it. But I'll go back to the money that is being stolen. If you go back to the first 6 months I was here back in 2000, the Democrats had the majority, House, Senate, and the White House, and they did this first, CARES Act. We need money for COVID, $2 trillion. Well, what'd they do with that money? They sent it to all the blue states to pay off their debts because they had stolen so much money, they could not function. And we're talking about 30, 40 billion for California, 30, 40 billion for New York. Same thanks to these people that want to bring this country to a communist country because that's where we're headed. If we don't get to the bottom of this, this nonsense of being
Sorry, guys. I was muted. I forgot to hit my button back on. All right, did you hear what he said? 12 senators, at least, stolen elections. Venezuela. And then the money. Remember the Biden money? That when in 2021, when Biden paid us all off, gave us our big stimulus checks so that we wouldn't pay attention to the fact he was paying off all the states that robbed all that money during COVID. Yeah, I've talked about this many times before. It feels wonderful to hear a senator say that. This tells me he's one of the good ones because you don't talk about that. You don't talk about that unless it's real. And that's real. I mean, the fact that a senator feels comfortable saying this now tells me it's I've been good. I've had a good run. What's it been? It's been like a month since I muted myself on accident. Okay. That's gotta be one of the old timers watching my show. Come on. Has not the production value of my shows gotten significantly better? Wave a little hand if it's gotten better. I've improved significantly, correct? For a guy who works full time, does this at night in my spare time. Anyways, all right, let's keep moving here. All right, so on top there, the Dems freaking out about it. Are we having issues with my stream? Is that bad? Sorry for this. I hate when they do this to me. Not good. Not good at all. I'm not a fan of that. Anyways, on top of all this, we have Eric Coomer today, who is tied to Dominion. I believe the CEO of Dominion has come out and admitted in 2020 they were working with foreign actors. Are you kidding me right now? It's all coming out. Are we having buffering issues? Oh my God. Sorry guys. It's all good here. They don't like me. They're buffing in my stream. I hate when they do that. I'm looking right here. My stream is strong. My internet connection's perfect. So you're not criticizing G, right? It's fine, man. Listen, YouTube has done this many, many times to me. How about Rumble? Hey, Rumble peeps. Am I glitching over there? Is Rumble having the glitches as well? Or is it just YouTube? I'm looking right now. It's holding strong. All right. Well, in all this, guys, Rumble's better? Okay. All right, good. On X, I can see my views really dropped off on X, so they must be struggling over there as well. Bummer. I hate when that happens. All right, everybody refresh. Let's start again. Anyways, all I was trying to show you guys is that the Dominion exec is now admitting work with foreign actors. So listen, guys, keep going. Still muted? Everybody on Rumble says it's good. So people are refreshing. They said it's good. Yeah, they don't like me talking about the elections, do they? Nope. Well, unfortunately for them, it's about to be mainstream news everywhere. I mean, Gabbard's there. FBI is rating it. Tuberville's openly talking about it now. That means senators feel it's okay. We have this coming out from Eric Coomer. And we have, let's see. Where I thought I had it ready to go. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second here. I misplaced it, but look at, anyways, check this out. Let me pull this up because I know exactly where to look. John Thune, leader of the Senate, is now promising the SAVE Act will be brought to a floor vote. All right. House is currently adding the SAVE Act to not just include citizenship vote, but photo ID. This would be federal. Now, I'm telling you what's going to happen right now. All right. This will not pass unless they break the filibuster. But it is a good sign they're willing to vote on it. We got to take what we can get a little bit at a time. This weekend, we could be entering a new government shutdown, which might be the catalyst to get the Republicans to finally nuke the filibuster. We can pray, and we should all be praying that they finally do it. Because if they nuke the filibuster, then the SAVE Act, Thune is a deep state. He is uniparty all the way. But he's manipulatable. Like Trump can move him because he's weak. And that's why Trump was okay with him becoming Senate Majority Leader. Because it was between him and Rick Scott. Neither one was great. He chose Thune because Thune's weaker. So you can get Thune to do stuff, even though he's a plant. He's kind of like Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham, total deep state uniparty rhino. But Lindsey Graham will do everything Trump wants him to because Lindsey is terrified of Trump. Thune is the same way. They're going to get this up there believing it won't pass. But it'll force a vote. And any Republican who doesn't vote for it is going to be put on blast. Then it can be used against Democrats. So it still has value even if it doesn't pass. However, if they nuke that filibuster, guys, now Thune owns it because he said he'll do it. And with that, he's stuck. And they'll have to pass it. So that's where we're at. We need to pray for that. This is that creep from Oklahoma, the guy who created that bipartisan, what's his name? Langman, something like that. He's a Langford. He is awful. Thune's surrounding himself with these dweebs up here. It's crazy. Thune the buffoon. I like that, Z-Grooms. That's good. So Big B says illegals have driver's license. Photo ID is not foolproof. You're right. It's not foolproof. However, those driver's licenses don't say they're citizens. They're like, it does tell that they're not legally here as citizens. Listen, it would fix 90% of the problem. And 90% is a massive win. Okay. The other thing is, he does say, I believe you have to have citizenship. Yeah, let's, I'll play the clip. Why not? We can play the clip. All right, Senator Thune, you get the moment to yourself.
Repeatedly urged the passing the SAVE Act as well as many MAGA Republicans. What is the holdup in the Senate? Why hasn't that been brought to the floor for a vote? And what's your stance on requiring proof of citizenship to vote in elections?
Well, I'm for that. I've co-sponsored the SAVE Act in the past. I think my understanding is that they are still modifying the bill. It includes right now a requirement that you be a citizen to register to vote, but it doesn't include a requirement that to vote you be a resident. So in other words, if you're going to have what we call voter ID or photo ID when somebody goes into the ballot box to vote, that's not currently covered in the bill. So that's being fixed and addressed, and I think the new bill that comes out hopefully will deal with that. But I mean, at some point we'll have that vote. I'm for it. I think most of our colleagues in the Senate are, and I don't, it hasn't had consideration in the relevant committee yet. But I know there's a high level of interest among our members in getting a vote on SAVE Act.
All right, so he's pushing for citizenship proof. All right, does Real ID prove citizenship? Oh yeah, Real ID definitely does. I don't think you can get a Real ID unless you are a citizen. I mean, they might make some excuses in California or whatever. But here's the deal. Listen, if the far left states, which there's only a handful of them, California, Illinois, New York, Washington, Oregon. Other than that, Maryland, okay, Massachusetts. There's a lot of like blue leaning states like Colorado. And then there's just a few hardcore blue, deep blue states. Those are the only places that would allow a Real ID to be, if they even do allow it. But I think a Real ID is different. ID would keep more dead people from voting. Absolutely. Well, here's the part of it. In the SAVE Act, it's more like, so what I believe is in the SAVE Act, as I remember it, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, it will create the election day will become a national holiday. So there will be no early voting, or very little. It'll be very limited early voting. And all votes have to be counted that day. So there might be like some very small allowances for, say, like military votes to come in late. But other than that, it's the whole thing, like what happened in 2020 where we waited like 2 weeks for all the votes to come in, or in California where they pass House races and get them done like weeks later. That would be gone if the SAVE Act's passed. It will, and I believe mail-in voting will be extremely limited, if not illegal as well. So it pretty much solves 90 to 95% of the voter fraud. Guys, we can live with that for a while, because it's almost impossible to solve 100% of the voter fraud unless we allow and we're okay with our government just tracking us all, which, we kind of want the Patriot Act to go bye-bye. So we don't want to go that route. So let's say we solve 95 to 97% of voter fraud. We're good. We can live with 3%. That's not going to, 3% of voter fraud is so infinitesimally small. It won't sway any elections. Might sway like a mayor election here and there, but no major elections. So that's what we want to get to. And that's what I believe the SAVE Act will do. So especially because even Thune now is calling for higher like standards. That tells me Trump's in his ear. It really does. Speaking of voting, Cernovich wrote this great post. I wanted to cover it. He says, this will be the biggest political trend in the coming years. You either vote MAGA or you have to sell your crypto to fund Somali welfare fraud. That's great. There is no moderate position. Look at what they're doing in Virginia. 100%. In Virginia, you guys have all seen how crazy the stuff is going on in Virginia as soon as they got in. She's supposed to be a moderate, Spanberger. They are all insane. Every Democrat is crazy at this point. In places of power, politicians, they're all crazy, and they'll all just do whatever we can to ruin our country. A couple says Trump might get a third term. Well, he's not. Trump's older. He'll be 83 in the next election. I don't think he wants to run. I really don't. I don't get the sense I think every time he brings it up, he's trolling. I think I think JD Vance has been selectively chosen to be the successor. And that's all there is to it. But he's also got people like Rubio who could be great as well. So I'm not worried about it. So I love Trump. I really do. And the man deserves to retire just like everybody else, especially in his 80s. Let him go. Let him be a leader from the outside, a kingmaker, and let JD Vance pick up the mantle. I think JD is going to be a wonderful president. So we don't need Trump to get a third term. But we need him to destroy everything he can and be as awesome as possible in this term. That's what we need. And if he fixes elections, fixes the economy, fixes world politics with, the foreign policy, and destroys the deep state all in one term, it'll be the greatest term of a president since Lincoln. And it'll be Washington, Lincoln, Trump. That's what'll happen if he accomplishes that this term. And I think he's on the way. I really do. So, there's not going to be a third term, but you know what will be enough? If Trump just proves he lost 2020 because of fraud. If he proves that, it will vindicate so much. It will listen, he's already pretty much destroyed the mainstream media. If he proves 2020 was actually stolen with beyond a reasonable doubt, it'll be the final stake in the heart of mainstream media, and they will never recover. They'll be disappeared, because that is the one thing they always held over Trump. So, that's what we're looking at. But a couple other things I wanted to share that actually came up late. And I shared it on my X account, but Bongino going off on this, and I wanted to, actually a couple other things too. Eric Schmidt on the floor says, screw off to Democrats. They will not pass laws that slow down deportations. The only way out is through. I love that. That's good stuff. We're getting fiery again. O'Reilly and Cuomo going back and forth. I'm not going to play all these clips. There's a lot of them. Maybe we'll go through it tomorrow night. But they're having a good old skirmish. Bill O'Reilly, man, is on fire right now. I would love to play those, but I just don't have time. I do want to play, though, this clip from Bongino, because he lays out exactly what the playbook is that they've been pulling off in Minnesota. So let's watch this.
Here's the tactic. It's very simple. They use an incident like this to garner public outrage. They use their outlets to magnify public outrage. They get the doomers and the black pillars and the weak Republicans to then say, oh, look, I was a 3-time Trump voter and everything's going to, this is nonsense. I didn't vote for this. Most of those people never voted for Trump ever. They're totally full of shit. You either stop unlawful activity, or unlawful activity metastasizes like a freaking cancer. That is it. It's either law and order or chaos. There is no on the margin there. You either enforce the law or it's total chaos. Every single little thing, if it was a hiccup, they would try to use it to discredit what was an incredible record we had, and probably the best year the FBI under this administration, under any administration's ever had. Here's the tactic. It's very simple. They use an incident like this
Bongino is
to garner public outrage.
He's absolutely right about that. It's the tactic. It's a psyops, guys. So are you going to fall for him or not? Foundation Preacher says his third term will last his whole life as kingmaker on the outside. Well, yeah, I agree with you actually on that. Yeah. Pam Hayes, what's going on? What's going on with Rich Barris? Oh man. Pam, I don't know if you've been here a lot lately. I've been watching my shows lately, but I've been very critical of Rich Barris, who I love, and I've had a great admiration for. He is, I believe, still the best pollster out there. But Barris is very interesting right now. He's gone all in on blackpilling about the midterms. So it tells me one of two things, and he's like gloating about it. So actually, it's three. We have three options with Barris, not two. It's three. Number one, he's terrified and he's buying into the stuff, and he's completely genuine. That's number one. Number two, he's doing this to bolster himself, to make him look smarter than everybody else. He's grifting. He's building his own platform, and that's disgusting and gross. And number three is the worst, is that Barris, as so many others, is actually a tool. He's actually bought and paid for. He's a tool of the deep state. He's being used to sabotage MAGA, to disenfranchise us, to demoralize us. And it's working. I mean, everybody who follows Rich is and trusts him is getting demoralized right now. But again, it's so many other times I think Trump will prevail where so many doubt him. And but yeah, I'm not happy with him. I think that he is not helping anything. He is I said this last night in my show last night. You can be critical of Republicans. God knows I am all the time. You can be critical of Trump if you want. I think that's I think that's like lizard brain stuff. You're low in you just don't follow what's going on if you're criticizing Trump, because the wins are overwhelming, but you just don't really understand what's going on. But you can criticize him if you don't understand it. That's fine. That doesn't even bother me if it's legitimate from a certain perspective. But what bothers me is this: only criticizing and not trying to educate, not trying to build up, not trying to offer solutions. That bothers me. And when I see that, that's when I immediately begin to wonder, and when I immediately start losing trust. Barris is one of those. Dave Smith, libertarian, is one of those. Robert Barnes is one of those. I've lost trust in all these people. I still trust Barris's polling. I don't trust his analysis anymore. And Bannon is getting to that place for me. It's hard. I don't want to be the guy who's like, you can only trust me, because I don't believe that. I do think there's trustworthy people out there, and there's people with different opinions who I believe you can trust. I think Tim Pool is very trustworthy. I think Jeremy Hambly at the Quartering is very trustworthy. They don't know me. I'm not doing a favor for anybody I don't know, or that I know. Like I'm legitimately telling you can watch these other people, and I trust them. I trust Bongino. I do. I trust, what's his face? Sorry guys, give me a second here. I trust Tom Luongo. I trust Promethean Action. I trust Ian Burlingame. There's a lot of people I trust. They're not that big. Out of the biggest of the big, I don't trust anybody 100%. If you're talking the biggest people, I think the people I would trust the most out of the big guys, we're talking people who have millions of followers. Tucker, and I don't agree with Tucker on everything, but I do think he still has a good relationship with the administration. And so because of that, because Trump seems to still like him, I give him more leeway than others, but I don't trust many. I don't, and you shouldn't either. I trust. I believe Glenn Beck most of the time is doing what he believes is right, whether I agree with him or not. So there's some that I believe are real. So you guys hear me be very critical, but here's where we're at, and I hate to say this, but in politics especially, and entertainment, there are gatekeepers. All right. And I know this because I am, I'm in marketing. I know how this all works. I do that for a living. There are gatekeepers in a lot of areas, but especially in entertainment, and most especially in politics, because politics is the most dangerous, and entertainment is dangerous as well, because entertainment influences culture. So they have the most gatekeepers. It's very difficult to get past those gatekeepers. Some people do. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of hard work and unwilling to give in. Almost nobody. I won't say it never happens, but it's very rare. Almost nobody has a hit and comes up out of nowhere. It's very rare because it's extremely difficult because they keep the gates very well. So almost anybody who's like a hit out of nowhere is usually bought and paid for, and they're being used. There are people who've broken through, okay, and I've named some few that I know, but they're usually not the biggest. Tim Pool's done everything on his own. As far as I know, that guy is still completely independent and does his own stuff. He is excellent. I don't always agree with him, but he's excellent. The quartering, same thing. He's not as good as Tim, but he does a decent job. And like I said, there's a few others. But you notice the ones who I think are tracking the most with the truth, which is Promethean Action, Tom Luongo, those types, Alex Craner, Elon Burlingame. They are really kept under wraps. Promethean Action starting to get a lot of momentum, but a lot of those people they're trying very hard to keep them down. It's getting harder now because Trump is putting a lot of pressure on the social media channels to not censor. He's basically laid down the law with his FCC as it is. And Zuckerberg has capitulated. Google has mostly capitulated. YouTube is getting better. And so, it's getting easier to get the truth out. Now, that doesn't mean they'll boost my stuff. It doesn't mean they allow me to get out there very much, but I'm getting demonetized less. So that's a good sign, but my reach is still not much. Okay. Anything. And listen, I'm not saying I'm the best show out there. I don't do this full time. I don't have a studio or anything. I do this, with just some tricks up my sleeve that I know, but, and I do it as good as I can on my own. But so I'm not saying I'm the best show and I deserve that. But I can tell you that this show that I put on every night is better than 90% of the crap on YouTube. 90%. That's not saying much because 90% of it is not very good. But they do. The gatekeepers, they shadow ban us. Their algorithm is designed not to boost us. Okay, and that's true even on X, because as good as Elon's done, unless you've found Elon's favor, it's very hard for conservatives to rise up on X because his company is still run by a bunch of leftists. And because X is still run by leftists, even though Elon's in charge, they shadow ban and keep down all the conservative thought unless Elon finds you, promotes you, and then they know they got to let it go. And so if you get a retweet from Elon, you get huge. And that's how you break out. So they're not censoring us anymore, but they're not promoting us either. It's very difficult to break out. So your initial response to anybody who's made it should be distrust, especially those who made it big in the last 7 years. Because they censored like crazy during Trump's first term and during the Biden years. So if there's somebody, a conservative or a MAGA who is actually spitting truth out and they got bigger during the Biden years, you should be very skeptical because they made it very difficult to get out there. Now, I'm not talking about people who are already big who did things like Tucker or Megyn Kelly, who got bigger during Biden, but that's because they were already big. I'm talking about the people who came out of nowhere, like Ian Carroll. Total fraud. So that's the kind of stuff you need to look out for. But yeah. Pam, you're 61, listen to Rush, and can honestly say I'm very good and very insightful. Wow. Pam, that means a lot to me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Rush is my hero. Yeah, Rush, I remember Michael Savage. I used to read his books. I love Savage, but he was, shall I say, too savage. Yeah, Savage was great, but I didn't agree with him on everything. But Rush is the king. Rush was more hopeful. I never, people who are negative, people who get hopeless at times, like Savage did, I can't go there. When you have the light of Jesus, when you've met Jesus, you can't ever be a black pillar. It's impossible. But not saying you can't have bad moments, but in life in general, you can't be seeing with the eyes of God and what you see and lose hope. Rush exemplified that perfectly. He was always hopeful, always positive, and that's my hero right there. When it comes to content, if there's anybody I could be like, it'd be Rush. So thank you guys. The comparisons mean a lot. If I'm even 10% like Rush, then I'm honored. I'm very honored. Thank you so much. But on that note, guys, hey, I'm going to close this out. I am going to move to a members only live because I promised the members a live this week. So we're going to switch over. I'm going to close out here with a prayer as I usually do, and we're going to go over to members only. If you want to join this, if you've never been in a members live, you can get in now for free. All you got to do is go to the Patreon link on my Twitter, pinned to the top or in the description on YouTube or Rumble. Click on that Patreon link. It will give you a free month. For a month, you'll get all the members' lives, the members' podcasts, and access to the Discord for free. Okay? And then if you like it, you can stick around for $5 a month and keep all those benefits. All right? But that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to members only for the rest of the night tonight. And I'm going to talk about some of the economic news coming out and the markets and what we're seeing, because silver and gold are sending a warning, folks. I don't know if you noticed, but it's getting wild over there. So let's end in the usual prayer here, and then we're going to switch over to members only. Okay. So Heavenly Father, bless everybody watching, God. Thank you for them. Thank you for the support. Bless each and every one of them, Lord. Bless their minds to just be open and find the truth in everything, whether it comes from me or somebody else or in anything I said, God. If it's wrong, I pray that you show them the real answer. Father, we pray for President Trump and his team. God, bless them, protect them, give them wisdom and boldness in Jesus' name. And Father, bring peace, prosperity, and justice to the land like we've never seen before. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. Love you guys. For those non-members, have a blessed night. I'll see you tomorrow. For members, I will see you in just a few minutes. Look for the notification here on YouTube or on Patreon. All right. See you guys soon. God bless.